Hello YouTube, Sydney's one here. I'm just going to show you a quick build in Minecraft running 1.5.1 with Optifine. So let's just hop in here and take a look. Just a little redstone contraption, so let's hop into my redstone world. I tried recording this video once already. I was having some serious performance issues, so I turned down all my graphics options pretty much to the minimum, you know, smooth lighting, short render distance, etc. One of the things that I was really finding annoying in Minecraft was that redstone is so messy. Look at this, it looks terrible. So the first thing I did when 1.5 came out was, with the new texture pack format, I threw together a little texture pack. I changed two textures, so it's really small. I might post it for download somewhere if you guys want it. So let's switch over to it. It's called Better Redstone. I just really didn't like the way redstone was really messy and confusing and noisy, so I cleaned it up a little bit for videos like this, so it's just a bit more understandable. So yeah, looks a bit more like wiring. It's just a bit easier to see, a bit easier to understand, especially in a video. Let me just turn particles down. So yeah, alright, on to the build. In my single player survival world, I was having this problem where I wanted to hide my crafting tables under the floor and be able to bring them up just by stepping on a pressure plate. So my first iteration of this design was really big and bulky, and it was slow and it lagged, and it was just terrible. And my house isn't small, but I wanted to minimize the footprint of this as much as possible. So I hopped over to my LP world here and threw something together. So let me just quick show you the footprint of this. It is 5 by 5. Oops. Yeah. Like so. That isn't 5 by 5. There we go. 5 by 5 either. Okay, there we go. Your pressure plate goes here, and your crafting table will pop up here. So let's just take a look. Goodness, I'm really having trouble with this today. 2, 3, 4. Is it 5 by 5? 1, 2, 3. Oh no, that's just in the wrong place. There we go, okay. That's what I was trying to do. So it's 5 by 5. I don't use these 4 blocks on the corners or these 2 here. So let's just take a look at it. The performance is really good. It's quick, doesn't lag. And it's a flip-flop. So I don't have to stay on the pressure pad to keep the crafting table up. I can just quickly zoink on it and it's gone. So let's take a look at it. Okay, so let's take a look at how this works first. When you step on the pressure plate, it activates this redstone. The first thing that happens, one tick later, is that this redstone torch disables, which lets this piston come down. Then 2 redstone ticks after that, these 2 repeaters activate because they're on a delay. So the sandstone is right there right now. These activate, and if there's a block here, so in this case the crafting table is here, whereas on this side there's nothing. If there's a block here, the signal passes through to this repeater and goes around and activates this piston. It doesn't activate this piston because there's no block here to transmit the signal around. So as soon as this piston activates, it extends, pushing the crafting table here because this piston's down, and that sandstone over there. And then as soon as that sandstone reaches that point, it gets activated by this repeater, which goes around. This piston can't extend because it can't push this piston back, and since this block here is now powered, it powers the piston here, which extends from the redstone update from over here, I believe. I may be wrong though, it may be from the bud of these 2 blocks moving over this way. So let's just take a look at it in action. So let's give us something to stand on. So it's pretty quick. The only thing I don't like about it is that there is a delay from the time it goes down to the time it pushes over. If I decrease the delay on these repeaters, there isn't enough time for it to extend before this reactivates, because this is powered, and when those update, this is powered, so it powers the piston again. I may be able to, actually let's try this. I may be able to put a delay on those. No. Okay. So yeah, you need a 2 tick delay, 2 redstone tick delay on this, and you're golden. Now, as much as I liked this design, it was still pretty big, and I really don't like the fact that I cannot put a half slab here if I want. So if I put a half slab there, it all works as expected now, except it doesn't extend upwards because I don't really know why. It isn't oh okay, yeah. It's a half block, so the redstone isn't transferring through to this side, and that's a real problem. I really didn't like that, because my house in my single player world, the room I wanted to place this in was sunken down like this. In my storage room, it was sunken down. So I wanted it to be able to pop up through the floor and then be replaced by a half slab again like this, but it can't do that. This design just can't do that. So I compromised by putting a fancy chiseled quartz block there that pops up, but it doesn't look that good. And again, this was pretty bulky. It took up most of the end of my storage room. So I wanted to design something a little better. So yeah. So I came up with a 3x5 solution. Ooh. There we go. Yeah. Or sorry. Yes, 3x5 with crafting table here and pressure plate there. Sorry, crafting table here. And not only does this design work better, but it allows me to use half slabs as well. So let's take a look at it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Getting some. Ooh, control surface lag. Hold on. There we go. probably switching over to a new Fraps file. Alright, so let's look at this one. The performance is even better than before. There's almost no delay between it going down and switching. I can use a half slab in it, and it's just overall much cleaner, much smaller, a lot less redstone, etc. So you can see how fast that is. The only problem I found with this one is sometimes if you step off the pressure plate and right back on before it resets, so like that, it'll pull it down and it won't switch out. That's just because of a problem I'll show you in a moment. So let's take a look at this. I really like this design. It's actually pretty clever. So let's go over what happens here. Alright. When you step on the pressure plate, it activates this redstone right here. And the first thing that happens is one tick later, it, guessed it, disables this torch right here, which pulls the crafting table down. Then, at the same time as that disables, this repeater enables and powers this block. And then a tick after this gets pulled down, it disables this torch, which turns off, disabling this redstone. What you can't see very well below here is there's a torch underneath this piston. So when this disables, it retracts this piston. Both pistons actually, this one's already retracted. But it retracts this piston, so there's an air block here. And the same thing technically happens over here, it's just already retracted. So this is down, these are both retracted. Then a tick after that, since this redstone is no longer on, this torch enables and pushes both these pistons out again. However, because this piston was already back and this piston's in the action of moving back, it takes, I believe, 2.5 or 3.5 ticks, something like that, for it to move back or forward. Since this one's still in motion when this enables, this one isn't because it was already back. This one activates and pushes the half block and the crafting table over into this airspace, so that once this does enable, it can't push over because this piston is already extended. And then, a tick after that, this these repeaters here on either side, you can see that one in there, activate and push the crafting table back up, or in this case, the half slab. This version works with a half slab because I'm not using a repeater here, so it doesn't matter what I put here as long as it's a pushable block. I can use it. I could even probably put the Ender Dragon egg there. I do have one in my survival world. I'll have to try that out and let you guys know if it works. I don't know the code for the Ender Dragon item off the top of my head though. So let's just take a look at what this does. Let's just get something to stand on here. Alright, and so this is as fast as it can possibly go. There are no delays on any of these repeaters. It's literally just going almost in a circle. It's like magic. The reason that it doesn't reset properly if you come off of it, so right now that torch is disabled, and when you step on it, that torch becomes enabled because this torch is no longer on to power the piston. When we step off, this comes on, and then a few ticks later this all disables, and those repeaters turn off. But since this is on, the piston won't retract, which is why when we step off, it stays right where it is until we step on again. The reason that it doesn't work if we step off and on quickly is because between the time this comes on and then back off again, this doesn't have time to reset. So it'll come, basically it'll blink off right at the same time as this blinks on, and then this will blink back off, and this will still be on enough that these pistons here don't have enough time to return. So let's see if I can. Come on. Wait. Oh man, come on. You have to be really quick about it, which is why I don't really consider it a bug. There we go, okay. So this retracted, this didn't have time to extend, and so this was still in motion basically. So this wasn't able to push, etc. It just is coming down a block too late. There you go. Alright, one thing I didn't like about this though, this is the design I ultimately used. The design of my storage room is a long hallway, and I wanted this at... it's a long hallway going off like this, and I wanted this at one end of the hallway, so running into the hallway, I could step on it and do any, grab any supplies I needed. Ooh, actually it'd be like this. Run in, grab any supplies I needed, come back, craft, and then have it turn back into the half slab as I left. However, if you want a design where you can have a pressure plate on either side, so no matter where you're approaching it from, which end, you can put it in the middle of your room, I guess. I did make a design for that. It is really bulky here. You've probably been looking at it out of the corner of my eye. Really bulky, just because of the way I have to do it. I have to make all of this circuitry accessible from that side as well, so I had to centralize it, and I had to make this circuitry accessible from that side as well, because if we're on this side and we step on the pressure plate, it'll turn, you know, our version of that torch off. Here, I can show you. So even though our version of this torch is turned off, that one is still on that side, so this won't retract. So what I needed to do was make it all accessible from both sides, and I did that here. Same performance, somewhat. A little slower, because I had to do some vertical redstone transmission, which doesn't work too well, just with I was trying to make it as small as possible. But let's just take a look at what's going on here. It's the same idea as before, just everything is accessible from both sides. So the first thing that happens is hold on. First thing that happens is this redstone right under the pressure plate enables, but since we can't have a torch here, we had to move it down here, and to turn that off I needed to be able to get redstone in at it from the side, which was a bit difficult. I needed to transmit this pulse downwards, so what I ended up doing was having a sticky piston next to it with a block and a repeater and a torch here, so when this piston goes down, it retracts this. So there is a bit of a delay here. I don't like it, but I couldn't think of any other way to do it. If you think of something, let me know. I will definitely implement it and just see what happens. Then again, next thing that happens is these repeaters come out the side. I had to put a delay on them just to make this work properly. I don't know if they need a delay. They might. And it comes around, and instead of coming in at the side of these pistons, I had to come in from the end so that I could run the wire into both sides here. So bottom line is that both sides of this work, but it's at the cost of space. So I hope this video was useful for you. It definitely was a really fun experience for me, just designing these redstone contraptions, especially this one. Miniaturizing this was a lot of fun. This is my third iteration of it, with that being my second and this being my fourth. A lot of fun. I may try and miniaturize this double-sided version a bit more, but I don't think there's going to be much room for it, just because of how linear everything has to be, whereas this I can do everything from the side of these pistons. But it's definitely a learning experience. Please put up a video response if you can make this any smaller. I've been Sydney's1. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and comment, subscribe perhaps if you aren't already, and I will see you around.